The historic rivalry between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs isn't much of a rivalry these days. Why is that? Well, the obvious part of the answer is the Chiefs have the better players and coach from Andy Reid. The other part is the Chiefs players aren't just better, they have a few that really show up and play well against the Raiders. Speedy receiver Tyreek Hill gave Raider fans horrible memories before he went to the Miami Dolphins with all the touchdown bombs he got. Corner Marcus Peters and safety Tyrann Mathieu did too with all the interceptions they got to give the offense the ball back. And of course there are the big three that are still there. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes and tight end Travis Kelce on offense and interior defensive lineman Chris Jones on defense. The Raiders got to find a way to match that. Hopefully some of the guys that they just got in the draft and free agency can at least play a supporting role. They do have a few guys that show up and show out against the Chiefs though. On offense, they have receiver Davante Adams, who kills everyone, and running back Josh Jacobs. Then on defense, they have edge rusher Maxx Crosby. Those guys really need help to beat the Chiefs, though. The oldest Raider killer the Chiefs have is tight end Travis Kelce. And when I say the oldest, I mean he's been killing the Raiders the longest. Kelce started killing the Raiders in 2018, but he really started killing them in 2019. He had 7 catches for 107 yards and a touchdown in the first game, and 5 catches for 90 yards in the second game. It seemed like every time I turned around, he was making plays like this. I remember when the Raiders got coverage specialist linebacker Corey Littleton, and I thought he was going to do something, but this is what happened. So in 2020, Kelce had 8 catches for 108 yards and a touchdown in Game 1. And in Game 2, he had 8 catches for 127 yards and a touchdown. And of course, that touchdown won the game for the Chiefs. Alright, let's fast forward to 2022. The man had 4 touchdown catches. Yeah, he's still a Raider killer. And of course, you got the main Raider killer in Mahomes, constantly dropping bombs on the Raiders. He really arrived as a Raider killer in Game 1 of the 2019 season, when he threw 4 touchdown passes in 1 quarter. He threw for 443 yards in the game as well. In Game 2, he didn't have as many yards passing, but he ran for a touchdown, showing he can hurt you with his arms and his legs. It's hard to beat a team that has a quarterback that always kills you and can kill you in different ways. I guess that's why Game 1 of 2020 is the only time the Raiders beat Mahomes. But he still did amazing things like this. And of course in Game 2 that year, it was Mahomes that made the play that kept the Chiefs from getting swept. In Game 1 of 2021, Mahomes had 406 yards and 5 touchdowns passing. Then in Game 2, he had 258 yards and 2 touchdowns. And of course, there was that final bomb to Hill. That was absolutely ridiculous. In Game 1 of 2022, Mahomes had 292 yards and 4 touchdowns passing. This one in his normal Mahomes fashion. Then in Game 2, he wasn't as statistically great, but he showed he could still throw that bomb no matter who he has out there at receiver. And of course, there's that Mahomes magic. That's going to be hard to overcome this year. Interior defense lineman Chris Jones did damage in previous years, but he didn't become a Raider killer in 2019 Game 1. He had 9 pressures in the sack in that game. Then in Game 2, he had 4 pressures in the sack. He did that to Gabe Jackson, a really good guard. So what would he do to the guards that the Raiders have had since Jackson? Beat them and sack the quarterback. Then this year in Game 1, he lined up outside and beat right tackle Jermaine Luminor for a sack. Oh, in Game 2, forget about it. The Raiders couldn't get anything going on offense, so they definitely couldn't win because Jones absolutely took over that game. The man had 11 pressures and 2 sacks. I'll say no more about it. The Raiders are definitely getting the worst end of it right now, but they do have some Chiefs killers that they can build around for this rivalry. Edge rusher Max Crosby has been playing like his hair's on fire against the Chiefs since he first saw them in 2019 Game 1. He had limited reps in that game as he hadn't quite made his way yet. Crosby chased Mahomes around even more in Game 2. This one should have resulted in an interception, but it was dropped. Then in 2020 he went into full Chief killer mode. In Game 1 he had 7 pressures and a sack. Then in Game 2 he had 4 pressures. Then in Game 1 of 2021 he didn't have a sack, but he had 13 pressures. Then in Game 2 it eased back to only 2 pressures. Then in Game 1 of 2022, he had 4 pressures and not just 1 sack. He had 2 of them. He also batted this pass down for good measure. Crosby did his part. But the Raiders went on to lose that game, and of course they'd play him again later, and guess what? They would lose again. But you can't say Crosby didn't do his part. He had 5 pressures and a sack. That right tackle had no chance on this play. Crosby didn't have run defense down right away, but he did figure it out. In 2020, he had a couple of run stops in Game 1 and 2. Then in 2021, when he really started to be good against the run, he dominated the Chiefs in the run game. You can't run at him. You can't fool him with the spread option. He's just hard to block, period, so he's going to make his plays. That speed and quickness off the ball sure does help. Oh, and any blocking scheme that has a tight end blocking Crosby one-on-one should be thrown out. Oh, my bad. I think I showed that one already. Then in 2022, it's the same thing. You're not fooling them on spread options. He can chase plays down from behind. And fools gotta stop trying to block him one-on-one with the tight end. Watch him crash through on this inside move. Crosby's a chief killer, but he needs some help on that defense. From his first game in 2019 on, Jacobs has been a chief killer. I believe this is the longest run of his career at 52 yards. He had 99 yards rushing in this game. In Game 2, he had this 35-yard run. He had 104 yards rushing in this game. In Game 1 of 2020, he didn't have a 20 yards, but he had not just 1 touchdown. He had 2 of them. In Game 2, he didn't have a ton of yards either, but he had this touchdown. And after a couple of so-so games in 2021, he came strong with it in Game 1 of 2022. It was broken tackle after broken tackle. Watch the vision in the cutback followed by the physical finish here. You got 2 broken tackles for this one's finish. And here's the long one for this game, 37 yards, with 30 of it coming after contact. Oh, and 3 of his 6 career runs of over 30 yards have come against the Chiefs. And of course, he's looking for his touchdown in the game, and he doesn't quite get it here. But he gets in there and gets it here. That's 154 yards and a touchdown for Jacobs there. In 2021, Jacobs started to do more in the passing game. He started to become a nice little check down option that can make you miss after the catch. Watch the move he puts on the linebacker here. Oh. Then in game 2, he started to do a little more in the passing game. He has reliable hands now. You can see the confidence he has in his hands these days. And here comes another open field move from Jacobs. Oh. And in 2022, Jacobs was asked to do even more in the passing game. Head coach Josh McDaniels brought a nice screen game with him from New England to use him in. He's tough to bring down one-on-one. And man, I'm telling you, if you come running up on him in the open field, you coming up with air. Oh. Last year, receiver Davante Adams showed right away that he was a Chiefs killer. No one in this league can cover him. Look at the separation there. Well, actually, Adams kills everyone. The Chiefs are just included. He'll mesmerize you, then run right by you. When quarterback Derek Carr was in trouble last year, he made himself available. In game 1, he had 7 catches for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns. And when he wasn't catching bombs for touchdowns, he was drawing pass interference calls. Adams might have had a 3rd touchdown if not for this pass interference here. In game 2, he had to switch your quarterback, but you can still throw that fade to him. And the separation he gets is unbelievable. Here he's going to find the hole in the zone. And he's going to do it again over the middle on this dig route. Now here he is in motion, and he's going to run the comeback route. In his 2 games in the rivalry, he has 197 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's off to a good start. The Chiefs have been pounding the Raiders with solid role players and some Raider killers. There are only 3 of them that have been doing it for years, but they do major damage. They've only beaten the Chiefs once since Mahomes has been there. If the Raiders are going to beat the Chiefs again anytime soon, they need some role players to step up and for the Raiders that play well against the Chiefs to play even better. On offense, Josh Jacobs and Davante Adams have to continue to do what they do while Jimmy Garoppolo gets the ball to other guys too. On defense, Crosby has to step his game up even more and some help has to come from somewhere. I'm hoping to at least get some improvement against the Chiefs this year. Thank you for watching. See you next time.